Good evening and welcome. I'm our Superintendent of Evergreen Schools. Thank you for taking the time to join us today as you begin preparing for the upcoming school year. We are grateful we have been able to provide in-person instruction this year, and we are hopeful that next school year brings us closer to the way school operated pre-COVID. We have missed hosting our events, our meetings, and our parents. We look forward to having COVID soon behind us and being able to reopen our doors to our community. Thank you again for working with us to prepare your student for next year's traditional 8-period schedule. We know we have a broad audience with incoming freshmen who have never experienced a block schedule, to incoming seniors who are unfamiliar with 4 classes per semester. Rest assured, we will work through this together and provide our students the best education possible. Joining me this evening as we begin the scheduling process are Dr. Dolores Swineford, Assistant Superintendent and Curriculum Director, Dan Curtis, High School Principal, Adrian Lumbreeser, High School Counselor, and Brady Rufer, Middle School Principal. We are going to give you an overview of the new schedule and go over a course scheduling process. Together we are here to ease your anxiety, explain the features of the new schedule, go over graduation requirements and course request sheets, address your concerns, answer your questions, and ultimately help our students make a smooth transition to the traditional schedule. We will all be available after the meeting by telephone or email as well. When I came to Evergreen over 2.5 years ago, I made the commitment to the Board of Education that we would make decisions that are student-focused, that provide our students increased opportunities, and that are in their best interest. I understand changing the format of the high school schedule is controversial. Some hate it, others love it. Making these decisions are not done lightly, and in the end, it is about what is best for our students. As parents, we all want what is best for our children in life, educationally as well. Me too. I affirm that commitment by open enrolling my daughters in Evergreen. This schedule change affects both of my daughters. They are both immersed here, and I know a traditional schedule will not only afford them, but all of our students more opportunities and chances for success. I'm glad they attend Evergreen, as this is a great community and a great school district. We have spoken at length about why we are moving to a traditional schedule. We are aware there are concerns and reservations about this move. But when you look at the motivations for this change and the new opportunities it presents, I'm excited for our students. Recently, I was asked why we did not make this schedule change sooner. Unfortunately, a major change like this takes time and coordination. I am excited that beginning next fall, we will see our students benefit from additional course offerings, continuity of instruction, expanded instructional supports, and higher test scores that come with a traditional schedule. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Dr. Swineford to walk you through this process.
Welcome today. We appreciate you taking the time. Just a quick reminder for those that are watching on YouTube Live, all of the resources are available digitally through the district website. We're first going to start off talking about the educational programs offered here at Evergreen High School. We have a college preparatory program. These are intended for those students that want to attend a 4-year college or university, or even a 2-year community college. The next one is vocational program. This is designed to prepare those students for various programs offered at Fort County Career Center, which is in Hartsville, Ohio. And then we also have our general program, which is intended for that student that's planning to go directly into the workforce, apprenticeship, technical school upon graduation, or even the military. Graduation. So as we present today, we are going to share a wealth of information from what you're going to experience the entire time you're here at Evergreen. Graduation, we hold one ceremony in May. Just a reminder though, commencement is a privilege. Students must meet all requirements for graduation, and this includes test points or test scores and course credits, pay outstanding school fees and charges, and attend the mandatory graduation practice. As those events come close to graduation, we will provide information to the students in a timely manner. The Ohio Department of Education has changed graduation requirements over the last several years. So over the next couple of slides, we will discuss how those changes impact each individual class. We're going to start with the class of 2022. For the class of 2022, students must accumulate a minimum of 25 credits to graduate from Evergreen High School. If you notice up here, we have 4 credits in English, 3 in social studies, 4 in mathematics, 3 in science, 1 health PE. Now I want just to give you a quick reminder, for these students, when they took health PE as a freshman, it was a combined course called health PE. So they do not need to sign up for health PE 1 or PE 2. They've already met that requirement. And then it's 10 electives. One of those electives must be a credit in fine arts or world language. In addition to having the credit requirements, there are also graduation pathways that they must meet at least one of them. First is earning 18 out of 35 points on 7 end-of-course exams: geometry, algebra 1, biology, American history, American government, and English language arts 2. Or earn an industrial credential and workforce readiness, earn a remediation-free score in math and ELA, either on the ACT or the SAT. We do provide an opportunity for our students to take the ACT in the fall as a district test, and then right now we do offer it as well as a state test in February on campus. In addition to those 3 graduation pathways, there is additional graduation pathway options. They can show competency, and to show competency, a student must earn a 684 or better on the end of course exams for Algebra 1 and English 2. If the students do not pass it the first time, they have to take the test at least 1 more time afterwards. If they still are unable to meet the test requirement, there are 3 additional options to show competency. One option is to demonstrate 2 career-focused activities, such as fundamental, which is through scoring proficient on web exams, a 12-point industrial credential, a pre-apprenticeship for acceptance into an approved apprenticeship program. Another way is supporting is work-based learning, earning a required score on the ACT work keys, and earning the Ohio Means Job Readiness seal. Option 2 would be to enlist in the military, and they would just need to provide a signed contract where they are entering into the military. Option 3 is to complete college coursework. They must earn 1 credit, college credit for math and or English. To show readiness, when I mentioned about the graduation seals too, there are options for that as well. And we'll talk further on that, but they must earn 2 readiness or graduation diploma seals. For the graduating class of 2023, you will notice there is a decrease in credit requirements. This decrease will be in electives. Instead of having 10 electives, they will have 8. Again, it needs to be noted that this class has already taken the combined course of health PE and have met that requirement. The class of 2024 and beyond will now earn 21 credits towards graduation on coursework. Electives now are 6 credits. Again, 1 must be either fine arts or in world language. It is noted that, or we should really note that the incoming freshmen, that is our current 8th graders, you will need to schedule for health, PE1, and PE2. Current freshmen do not have to register for PE1, PE2, or health if they have already met that requirement. In addition to meeting the graduation requirements for courses, the class of 2023 and beyond, they are now also required to show competency, just as we mentioned before, the 684 or higher in Algebra 1, and ELA 2, and of course exams, 2 career-focused activities, enlist in the military, or complete coursework, and they must also show readiness and earn 2 diploma seals. And then so we're going to talk a little bit further on those graduation seals. I need to remind you, all of this information is also in the curriculum guide. We wanted to provide as much information and make it as easy as possible so you don't have to search for the information. So this is a list of graduation seals that the students have the opportunity to earn while at Evergreen High School. This information is also in a chart and more information on page 10 and 11 in the curriculum guide. Those graduation seals are the Ohio Means Job Readiness Seal, College Ready, Citizenship, and Honors Diploma, Industry Recognized Credential, Military, Technology, Science, Seal of Literacy. Those are all Ohio seals. Then they have to earn at least 1 Ohio seal. They can earn 2. They have to earn at least 1. They also have the option to earn a local seal. Local seals are community service, fine and performing arts, and student engagement. The criteria for those seals are set by the Board of Education, and we have that information as well. For an honors diploma, as we have students that strive to get an honors diploma, this is a state recognition for exceeding the Ohio graduation requirements. There are 5 different honors diploma. They can earn it based on academics. If they go to Fort County, they can earn it in career tech. There is STEM, fine arts, social science, and civic engagement. This information is found on the Ohio Department of Education website. We also have a link there, and information again is in the curriculum guide. The moment that you've really been waiting for is, what does that traditional schedule look like for next year? So you will notice it is an 8-period day. On Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, the students will have the same schedule. And I will explain that here when we get to the next page. But you will notice that classes are 44 minutes, except for first period and 8th period. Those periods are a little bit longer, a few minutes longer for announcements, so we are not taking away from the instruction that is going on. Lunch will be at half hour. Students will have lunch for lunch A, and then lunch 5th period, they'll go lunch A, while other students will go to their 5th period class, and then it will switch. We will also provide a 2-hour delay schedule that will be in the 2021-2022 student handbook. One thing, as we went through this process and really had discussions and conversation, we felt the importance of having an enrichment schedule. Right now, the enrichment schedule is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So every Wednesday, we will have enrichment. To do this, we had to shorten our periods from 44 to 41 minutes. There's 25 minutes of enrichment just before lunch every Wednesday. During that, it's an opportunity for clubs and student organizations to meet, a time for intervention and enrichment as well, including holding our class meetings. And you will notice then what we did, instead of first to 8th period being short, a little bit longer for announcements, we have moved announcements and added a few more minutes to 6th period right after lunch. I keep mentioning the curriculum guide. We hope you have the opportunity to pick it up on your way in. If not, it is located on the district website. Like I said, this is a great resource of information. We talk about the educational programs here, the grading and grading scale. For incoming freshmen, we do have a 10-point grading scale, and it is weighted for honors and advanced placement and college credit plus courses. So that information is in there. And also, there's information about graduation itself and the graduation requirements I just mentioned. Honors diploma, advanced placement courses. We do offer advanced placement courses. We have advanced placement calculus, AP literature and composition, AP language and composition, and we are offering AP government as a new course next year. College Credit Plus is an opportunity for students to earn college credit and high school credit at the same time. We are very fortunate that next year we are offering a College Credit Plus course right here on Evergreen High School's campus, and that is music theory. Students are also have the opportunity to attend at neighboring universities as well. We'll provide more information on that here shortly. Information is provided on Core County Career Center, including information on how to apply in courses or programs they offer, as well as course descriptions. So the back of it, a curriculum guide, is a list of all the courses that are offered at Evergreen here, as well as prerequisites and how many credits there were, and what grade levels they're open to. Keep in mind, though, there is a lot of courses there. Once we build the schedule, we are really going to be looking at the interest of students. So let's say, for an example, we have a course that only 4 students signed up for. That would be a course that we would not offer next year just because of low enrollment. Okay, so we really are going to be looking at those enrollment numbers. Finally, in the course guide, or the curriculum guide, it talks about athletic eligibility and NCAA eligibility. So you heard me mention that we are offering 2 courses, the AP American Government and the Music Theory class at CCP. We have additional courses that we are offering. We have AP American Government, AP Computer Science A, Java, that is with coding. We have AP Computer Science Principles, Art History, Environmental Biology, French 1, Google and Microsoft Digital Skills, Interior Design, Furnishing and Management, Introduction to Computer Science, Jazz Band, a math lab for students in Algebra 1 concepts or Algebra 2 concepts, Microbiology, Modern U.S. History. We are offering Music Theory as a high school course, as well as the College Credit Plus course that I mentioned. Real World Communications, Songwriting, Speech, Strength and Conditioning. We are providing Study Hall as an option for students. That was one of the things that was mentioned, just the shifting from 4 classes to 8. So we want to be able to provide an opportunity for Study Hall if the students wish to take it. Symphonic and concert band, textile design, construction and maintenance, trigonometry, and voice class. As you go through the curriculum guide, you will notice for each section of the core subjects, we have provided a core course progression. So if you notice, we have a standard sequence and an honor sequence for English. What this means is it gives students the opportunity. They all cover the standards set by the Ohio Department of Education. Honors classes go a little bit further in depth, a little bit higher order of thinking. So you will notice as far as the courses and requirements. For science, once you get to 11th and 12th grade, you really need to refer back to the curriculum guide for your course selections. In mathematics, we have a standard sequence, an honor sequence, and an intervention. And this is where we talked about that math intervention, that math lab. These are for those students that maybe struggle a little bit with math and need that extra support. Not necessarily a student that's on an IEP or an individual education plan, but they need that extra support. And we have that, again, for Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. We also have transition to college math. For social studies, you'll notice for 12th grade, we have an opportunity of electives and other courses available. So really look at that course, curriculum guide.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Curtis. I'm the high school principal here at Evergreen High School. I wanted to cover just a few things with you. Late arrival, early dismissal. That's been a practice here for several years, way back when it may have been called work release. We do have situations of students that are on track to graduate. Some of them may be working a job before or after school. Some of them may be taking a College Credit Plus course, and maybe they're only registered for 3 or 4 classes here at Evergreen, and they're taking other college classes elsewhere at a college or university, or even remotely from home. During those sort of situations and circumstances, again, if that student is a junior or a senior in high school, and they are on track to graduate, and they are still considered a full-time student if they're registered for 5 full credit classes, we do allow and permit students to arrive late or be dismissed early. In order to do that, first and foremost, we want to make sure that they have to be a full-time student. It has to work out conveniently within their schedule. Obviously, we don't schedule for late arrival, early releases in advance. That's something that is based on their schedule. If it happens to work out for their schedule, it's something that we do permit. We would require specific paperwork to be signed by you, the parent, to make sure that we're on the same page between the parent and the administration here. So we're on the same page as to knowing to expect your son or daughter if you're in the building or not. We do have situations and circumstances, especially when we talk about things like students may be participating in College Credit Plus program, that maybe they're not enrolled in an 8th period class, but they do have an online class they're taking through the University of Toledo. We've used our library media center as a quiet study place to direct students that maybe they're not released early, but we've made arrangements for them to report down to the library media center to get some quiet work in on their CCP class. We have, I believe, an afternoon AP Calc group that normally meets in the afternoon to review things that they would have learned in the morning in kind of a collaborative setting. So those are different options for students. Again, typically those would be only offered to juniors and seniors that are on track. We will have those consent forms available to you. Those, just like any other semester, would be expected to be turned in before that first day of school in order for us to release your son or daughter. School service and school mentor. We do have those opportunities sometimes for students that are helpful students. They are interested in working potentially in an office setting, or maybe they're just super helpful and don't love the idea of sitting in a study hall maybe for any length of time. So we do have opportunities where we've hired students to work in the main office, work in our counseling office. I know Mrs. Rostai has a student worker that has helped her with different things around the kitchen area to prepare for her courses as well. Those students are able to earn up to a half a credit towards graduation, or half of an elective credit. Those are things that are available to our students. They have to be, typically we require a student to be at least a sophomore. Usually we see freshmen aren't completely quite comfortable yet with the comings and goings of the building. We need to send them with different passes or complete specific tasks. Usually freshmen are still kind of figuring out the lay of the land. So, we require that students be at least a sophomore, be recommended by a teacher. They need to be trustworthy, someone that knows and understands, the expectations surrounding the building. College Credit Plus. We do have a College Credit Plus informational session or informational meeting coming up here on February 9th at 6 o'clock. That'll be here in the high school cafeteria. In years past, if your son or daughter has been a participant of the College Credit Plus program, you are not required to attend. However, you are more than welcome to come. College Credit Plus is an option for students to take college level coursework while they are still in high school. We have lots of students that take college level coursework through the University of Toledo. We have students that take classes at Owens Community College, Oklahoma State Community College, Bowling Green State University. That is a great opportunity for kids to get a jump start on their college career. We'll go into that, I guess, in a bit more detail next week. If you're all interested or considering being a participant of the College Credit Plus coursework, you're going to want to make sure you attend our meeting on February 9th. We did send out an informational packet remotely last week. We'll make sure we put that on the school webpage if it's not already. I believe it is. But there are lots of things that you need to know. It does sound great on the surface. There are some very important pieces of information, though, that we'll be discussing at those meetings. Primarily, it isn't to be taken lightly that your son or daughter will be starting their college career. Okay, so we always tell parents that it can be a great opportunity for students that are responsible, that are academically ready, that are socially and emotionally ready for college. We have had students here that have been straight A students, but maybe they're not socially and emotionally ready for a college level course. Maybe they're students that have done very well academically here, but you're constantly having to prod them along to make sure they're studying for tests and turn in their assignments to teachers and follow up and communicate with teachers, those sorts of things. The thing that I want parents to know and understand when they're considering a college credit plus opportunity is that when your son or daughter, if your son or daughter does enroll in CCP, the college or the university treats them as a college student. They expect them to be responsible like a college student. They expect for them to communicate as if they were a college student. And if they don't find success, and I don't want to paint the horror picture, but if they don't find success, ultimately that is a record that is being retained on their college transcript. Okay, so it really is important. If you are at all considering digging into the College Credit Plus program, it can be a great opportunity for families. It can be a great opportunity to start your college career at no cost to you. But again, it is important that you know all the finer points and know all of the details and know all the potential pitfalls that could happen if your son or daughter isn't truly prepared. So try to take advantage of that. If you're at all interested in participating, again, if this is your first time or would be your first time participating in the College Credit Plus program, you are required to attend an informational session, again, that we're having on February 9th. If your son or daughter have participated in the College Credit Plus program in the past, you are not required to participate in the informational session. However, you do need to submit a letter of intent to participate to our counseling office, and we have an intent to participate form here locally for Evergreen as well. So there are some handouts that you would need to make sure you sign and turn into the counseling office before April 1st. I think I covered everything in there. If I saw one or two people nodding their head when we were discussing music theory class. We're extremely excited to be able to offer the music theory class here at Evergreen. Mr. Rosen, our vocal arts teacher, will be teaching that music theory class. That will be a dual credit option course that's offered through the University of Toledo, a college level course that students won't need to leave the walls here of Evergreen to be able to attend. So we're going to be offering that here. Mr. Rosen will be leading and facilitating that course. Students will be able to earn high school credit and college credit alongside that class, so long as they participate and are enrolled in the College Credit Plus program. So again, if you're interested in that class, just isolated as a high school only credit class, that is an option. But if you're interested in earning college credit, you do need to make sure that you're a participant in the College Credit Plus program, you turn in the right forms, and you attend an informational session if this would be your first time participating in the program. Okay? Fort County Career Center. We have a great opportunity for students that are interested in a variety of different trade opportunities and moving into the world of work here after high school. Typically, students would would apply to Fort County Career Center towards the middle of their sophomore year. Normally, applications are available for students who apply as a sophomore for their junior and their senior years. Okay. Typically, what we would get the question oftentimes, well, my son or daughter is going to be a junior next year, or my son or daughter is going to be a senior next year. Do I really have to complete this registration information, or do I really need to register for classes here at Evergreen? The answer is yes. Please do that, because it is a lot easier for us. Normally what we would do is, even if your son or daughter is registered at Fort County, hands down is thoroughly intending on participating at Fort County Career Center, we create a schedule here at Evergreen for your son or daughter, okay? All the time, every year, we have students that hands down, I'm going to Fort County, and then things happen. Either they don't get into the program maybe that they really wanted to, or they decide that they would rather stay here at Evergreen, or some of them just say, I don't like the hour-long bus ride to and from. Those things happen, and it's extremely easy for us to make sure that we have that schedule ready for them, as opposed to after the fact, after we've scheduled and done staffing for courses and those things of that nature, try to schedule a student that hasn't submitted a registration form. So if your son or daughter is attending Fort County, finish the registration information. We'll cover that information with them at the beginning of February, or in a couple of weeks when we register all students. We'll create a schedule, and then once they start at Fort County, after they've completed their first week, then we remove that schedule here at Evergreen, and it's like it never existed. Okay? The scheduling process. So again, this is step one, essentially the scheduling process, since there are so many dramatic changes in the curriculum guide with the new schedule here at Evergreen. We wanted to make sure we were first reaching out to parents and explaining to them some of the finer points and some of the getting information into your hands. Our intent is to make sure that we're meeting with kids. We're providing the same sort of details that we're providing to you beforehand, and then Mrs. Lumbrazer and I and the administrative team will be meeting with students, current grades 8 through 11, for scheduling workshops here over the course of the next couple of weeks. Okay? Students will need to select 10 credits that best meet their needs. Some of you may be saying, well, there's only eight periods in a day. How are they able to schedule 10 classes? Well, we want to make sure that if for whatever reason a student isn't able to get into the class that they need to, we certainly hope that isn't the case, but we always like to make sure we have backups if their mind changes, if interests change. The logistics of our master schedule don't allow a student, say, to take one class because it's offered at the same time as another class. Those things happen, they just do. So to make sure that we do have other additional options stored away on the credit sheet, please make sure you're registering for 10 credits. You should have a colored form, depending on what grade level your son or daughter is in. Mrs. Lumbrazer will be reviewing that in a little bit more detail. We're not going to be going through each and every one of them, but those are the sheets that we're going to be reviewing with your son or daughter during registration. We're going to be explaining to those students a little bit about what courses to take, providing some additional details about courses, and explaining to them by class how they will need to be scheduling and registering for their classes for next school year. Okay? Once they do that, they complete that paper registration form, we're going to be guiding them to insert those registration materials into our scheduler. So we're able to schedule students electronically that way. But before we do that, we want to make sure that your son or daughter is having a conversation with you at home, and ultimately by signature on the back of the registration sheet, we want to make sure that you've seen that and you've had a dialogue at home as to what class your son or daughter intends on taking next. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, questions about course progression, questions about what your son or daughter should or shouldn't take, whether they be a good candidate for an AP class, what they need to do to get additional help in math. As always, contact my office, Mrs. Lumbrazer's office, Dr. Smeinford's office would be more than happy to sit down and have a conversation with you individually to talk about what's best for your son or daughter. Registration form, I talked about that a little bit. Please make sure your name or your son or daughter's name especially is on the form. There is key information. We've tried to provide you some information that helps make the registration process easier on that form. Again, like I said, if you have any hiccups whatsoever, feel free to stop in, call in, send us an email. I know Mrs. Lumbrazer last spring, with working remotely, has become quite a bit more expeditious on responding to electronic requests. That was the only option we had. So email is great. That's usually the quickest way to get an answer. If you want to engage in a dialogue, we're absolutely open to that. Give us a call, set up a meeting, whatever you'd like to do, we'd be happy to make arrangements for whatever's best. In terms of electives, there is an option to make sure that you're ranking electives in order of your preference, one being your first choice, second, third, and so on. Did I go into your slide? Yeah. I'm going to introduce Mrs. Lumbrazer. Mrs. Lumbrazer is our school.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here or watching. So I just want to talk a little bit more about these registration forms that you pick up. And we have, we have for our current eighth graders, we have blue forms. For our current freshmen, we have pink. For our current sophomores, we have orange. And for our current seniors, we have green. But for today, I'm just going to go over the freshman form that we have will show up on the screen. Just to kind of streamline everything for you. So you can see, so this is our paper registration form. So you're going to have two steps. You're going to fill out this paper registration form, and you are also going to enter, as Mr. Curtis said, your course requests into PowerSchool, Power Scheduler. So I do want you to know this paper form is going to be the official document. So if we want this paper form to match everything that's in Power Scheduler. So if there's a question about anything, I'm always going to resort back to these paper forms. So if the student says, well, I requested this online, but it wasn't on the paper form is what we will go off of officially. So you can see up here, kind of you can see. You are going to select, on the top section, there are 4 classes. First of all, make sure your phone numbers, your name's on there, your phone number, email, and then we have a little bit of information. Then we have, you're going to enter your core classes. So you can see on the freshman, we have English language arts. There's 2 options there for the incoming freshmen. They can choose language arts 9 or honors language arts. You'll also notice that honors language arts, you need to get your current English teacher's initials if you want to participate in an honors class. So any class that needs teacher initials is going to have a little line under it for the teacher initials, and then there's a little asterisk as well. You can see in math, there's 3 different options for math, and then there's also a math that will be a prerequisite for Algebra 1 concept students. The math lab is elective credit only, that will not count as math credit. Our Algebra 1 class and our Algebra 1 concepts class, the Algebra 1 concepts class is for students who maybe struggled a little bit in math. And I think this is a great opportunity for them to get some extra help that they might need. Some students have taken Algebra 1 in 8th grade, which is terrific, and that means they get to start their freshman year in geometry. That's why we have geometry as an option here. So you can see there's prerequisites for the class that are listed next to the class if there's a prerequisite. I want to mention again that curriculum guide that we've talked about multiple times today is it's going to be a huge help when you're filling out these forms. It has all the course descriptions, it has prerequisites, tells you how many credits everything is, so make sure you keep that. You can see for science. So for freshmen, there's only one option for science, so we'll check physical science. For social studies, there's only one option for incoming freshmen for social studies, so you have to check that. For PE and health, the incoming freshmen will check all of those. So these students on the top, they're going to check off every single box. So they'll have 5 boxes checked, and they will end up, depending on if they take math lab, they will end up with 5.5 credits potentially. If they have math lab, that would be 6. So our goal again is to get to 10 total credits. So then to make up that 10 total credits, we're going to go down to electives. So you can see there are a lot of options for freshmen in terms of electives. A very popular elective at Evergreen High School, which many of you probably know, is band. I do want you to note that marching band, it's all the way over on the right. Marching band, if you sign up for that, it says half a credit, but that's going to count as 1 full period because it'll be double booked during the first semester. So I just want you to keep that in mind when you're trying to get to your 10 total credits. But most of these, you'll see, if it's a half credit, there's a 0.5 next to it. If there's not a 0.5 or a 0.25, it's just 1 credit. So again, if you're trying to get to those 10 credits, that's what you want to do. So in these electives, on the top, you can just mark, on the core area classes, you can just mark an X or check mark on these. But when you get down to these electives, we want you to number what you want. So if your number one choice is intro to computer science, we want you to put a 1 next to that, a 2 next to child development, that's your next request, and then so on, up until you get to the point where you have 10 total credits. Clear? Okay, so, and then we have a spot on the bottom, initial that you selected 10 credits total. Again, 2 of these credits are going to be alternates. So you might be making, you might have quite a few X's on here, but that's because a lot of these classes are 0.5 credits. So to get to 10 credits, you're going to have to, 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 1 credit, so you'll have to enter a number of alternates, or electives, sorry. So you'll see on the back of the freshman form, there's a place for a student signature, a place for a parent signature, and another thing that we ask that you do, just to make maybe your life a little easier when you're wondering what the heck did I put on that registration form I turned in months ago. Take a picture of this before you turn it back in. So all of the forms are slightly different. You'll see that like when you get to senior year, you don't maybe have as many core classes that you have to take. So you may have more electives that you are allowed to take. But if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to help. As always, Mr. Curtis, Dr. Smucker, yeah, really. Okay, so I do want to make sure, we want to give parents an opportunity to look at these forms. Again, we will be meeting starting early February, starting with, I believe, the current juniors. We'll be meeting with all the classes as a whole to go over these forms. We will explain, like we just were explaining to you, how to fill out the forms. They will bring the forms home, they will get signatures. They will also enter those requests into Power Scheduler, which we are going to talk about right now. So this is what it's going to look like when your students log into Power Scheduler. They cannot do this right now. So the Power School student registration is not going to open until the day that the students have their meetings, their class meetings with myself and Mr. Curtis. So you can't get onto Power School right now and introduce yet. The steps for this, we're going to go over these steps for students during scheduling meetings, but basically they're just going to log into their Power School account. There's going to be a class registration link, you'll click on it. The required courses should already be checked in Power Scheduler for you. Then you'll click on your selected courses by marking the registration, by marking a small box to the right of each course. So this just kind of gives you a snapshot of that. And then, after selecting your course choices, you'll have to remember to click submit. So we'll do another, go to the next. Oh, okay. And then you will, if you might get an alert that comes up. If an alert comes up, it is possible you did not select the required course, or maybe you selected a course that has a prerequisite. Just correct the alert or error in Power Scheduler, and then you'll click OK in the bottom right corner, and you'll be good to go. So hopefully it will be very simple and easy. Again, you have the paper registration form, and the student will have to enter the information into Power Scheduler. But again, these forms are what are gonna be the official record of what your child requested. So I believe that is all I have for now. Oh, that's not all I have. I'm just kidding. Scheduling reminders. So, okay. These is very important. I believe Dr. Steinberg already referenced this. These are just requests. These are not guarantees. So, if your student requests to take child development and only 2 people in Evergreen want a child development, maybe the course won't run. So we can't guarantee the course may run. Sometimes just depending on the way the schedule works, we try to make everything fit perfectly, but maybe child development is running at the same time as Ag 1, so maybe then at that point the student will have to choose. And I try to reach out to everyone, but that's also why we have a number. Which do you want first? Which do you prefer? Because if that happens, and I had to choose between child development or Ag 1 for you, I'm gonna go back and look at those numbers and say, okay, child development was their first choice, Ag 1 was their third choice, so I'm gonna go with child development. I mentioned teacher initials and recommendations. You should see those on those registration forms, all the courses that need them, and it also talks about that curriculum guide. Parent signatures, please make sure you have your parent signatures on the forms. Mr. Curtis mentioned, if your student is applying for Fort County, we still want you to fill out a registration form. Same goes for CCP. If you're taking CCP classes, we still need you to fill out a full evergreen registration form. And then once we receive your class schedule from whatever university you choose to partner with for CCP, then we can remove courses from your evergreen schedule. However, I do want you to know, if you are a student who is taking CCP courses and you have a full load of evergreen, you do need to let me know if you want to drop one of the evergreen courses. So you could take 3 evergreen courses and take 1 CCP course, and that's fine. But some students might take 4 evergreen courses, take 1 CCP course, they're allowed to do that too. So if you want to remove an evergreen course, you will have to let us know what you want us to. I already mentioned the course requests and Power School should match the paper version. I think that'll do it.
Thank you, Mrs. Fundraiser. Just a couple of tidbits here as we work to a close. We have a student informational meeting on January 28th. That will be during enrichment time. We will be sharing, I guess, student-centered a bit more during enrichment. Much of the information that we're sharing for you to explain to students what the expectations will be as far as registering courses, what registration will look like, explaining to them the details about a transition to a more traditional schedule and graduation requirements, those sorts of things. So January 28th, that'll be available to students during enrichment. February 9th, like I mentioned before, is going to be our informational meeting. That meeting, again, is only required of students and parents who will be a first-time participant in the College Credit Plus program. If you are a first-time participant in the College Credit Plus program, the student and one parent needs to be in attendance to the informational meeting. If you participated in the past and you're not interested in hearing the same old information, you're not required to attend that informational meeting for CCP, but you do need to make sure you're turning in the letters of intent to participate. We'll have those available online and in our counseling office. Here are the dates that we're going to be doing student registration here at Evergreen during enrichment. So we've got them organized by class. We hope to, by mid-February, have all of these things squared away and ready to go. So while you can't get into Power Scheduler right now and do the technology end of registering your son or daughter for classes next year, hopefully you're getting a jump start on many of the other people that aren't maybe in attendance today, or maybe they'll be able to gather resources online. And our hope is that you're having those conversations at home about potential course offerings and class schedules and courses that your son or daughter may be interested in taking here in years to come. That way, once you get to these dates here on the screen, it'll be a breeze. You've already had a conversation with your son or daughter, and we're just guiding them through the process of inserting those course requests into our schedule. We've listed some contacts up here. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to contact anyone up here on the screen. We'd be happy to help you. We do very much appreciate your attendance tonight and remotely online as well. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out by email, give us a call, stop in. We'd be happy to set up a meeting either in person or remote, whatever you're most comfortable with. We do genuinely want to make this transition as efficient and seamless as possible. So you cannot ask enough questions. So if there are any questions, concerns, things you're not sure of, things that you're worried about, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to discuss those. That is all I have for the night. We'll be hanging around here for the remainder of the evening. If any of you have specific questions or questions that you'd like to run by us, there are plenty of copies of the curriculum guide, copies of the slides from tonight. feel free to take one of those if you haven't gathered one of those yet. If you do have a friend or a neighbor or something like that that maybe wants a copy of the form, feel free to grab one of those for them. All of the materials and the slides that we passed out tonight will be available on our school website. So for those of you who are watching at home, feel free to go to our school website here tomorrow. You'll be able to gather the registration forms. You'll be able to gather the curriculum guide. You'll also have access to the paper course registration sheets as well. So please take a look at those before we get to course registration here in a couple of weeks. Thanks again. Have a good evening.